Welcome to Hello Player, a show for curious people who want an honest look at making a video game. I'm your host, Evva Carr, and in this episode, Charles and I will be sharing tales from bringing HyperDot on the road. You'll hear about the stresses of rebuilding HyperDot on the fly, pitching to Xbox with a PlayStation controller, and seeing Keanu Reeves live on stage during E3. All right, let's get started. Charles, we have guests this week.
Oh my goodness, what?
Who are y'all? What's the face?
Because you said what? Like
What?
you didn't know we were here.
I
we
didn't
just popped
know.
in as Ava said it.
Like, what?
I am Nicolaas. I am the director of insights at Glitch, and I do all of our research, and I've done a lot of research on HyperDot to help make the experience a little bit better.
I am Holly. I'm the marketing manager at Glitch. I'm the one behind the tweets and the Instagram posts and the Facebook posts most of the time. The newsletters, even when they say they're coming from someone else, technically I probably wrote them.
Yay!
The illusion is gone.
Way to break the illusion,
Sorry.
Holly.
It's been me the whole time.
Which location do we want to start at? Like, we've been traveling a hell of a lot. I don't
Should we
know.
do chronological? What's the farthest back that we're going?
GDC?
GDC?
No.
No, PAX.
No, PAX. PAX is
PAX is the
definitely.
first.
Yeah,
That's
so
where
this
it
was
all
like PAX
began.
2018?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
PAX West.
Someone tell us about PAX 2018.
The first thing I remember is you realizing that Chris Charla from ID at Xbox was going to be at an event near PAX and working with your friend Stephanie Hurlbert to get Charles and I into that event called DevGAMM, which was...
What does that actually stand for again?
I don't remember what DevGAMM stands for,
I don't remember what it stands for. I just
but
know.
we did have orange lanyards that lit up when we got there.
I remember those. And then they had like little flashy lights on them.
Yeah, they're dope. I use them all the time whenever they don't
No,
give
you
me...
don't.
You still use it?
I totally still use them. Whenever they no longer give me a lanyard or something like that, I'll be like, okay. And
So you just have it in your pocket?
Oh, no, I don't have it in my pocket. I don't just... I mean, at conventions.
It's on his door at home.
Yes,
Yeah.
I look at it, I christen it, and like, thank you, and then I move on. No, they just like light up and flash and stuff. So whenever I'm at a convention,
Yeah.
then I use it, and they don't give me like a lanyard, and I'm like, oh, sure, no problem, I'll use this because it looks so good.
It was high quality.
Yes, it's like the highest quality lanyard.
Yep.
I didn't get one. I don't know. I don't even remember it.
We
but-
didn't bring you one. You weren't at the event. You just sent us there.
Yeah.
I didn't even keep mine for you. I didn't know you wanted a high quality lanyard.
I'll just steal Charles at the next event.
Yeah.
Why? I like using mine. Oh,
Yeah. So we got to this event
Yes.
early in the morning. It was like the best description of the venue was like an Alamo draft house, but a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like
Wait, a little
before
bit older?
It was made before Alamo draft houses were a thing. Like it was a movie theater with booths. So we all like sat down in booths and watched presentations.
Were they assigned?
No.
No, they weren't assigned. They're,
Okay.
So like think like you're in the 1940s and it's like a smoke-filled
So it's like a
theater.
speakeasy. You went to DevGAMM at a speakeasy
Yeah.
hosted by Russians?
Yeah, it was definitely an Eastern European conference that was like one of its first showings in the U.S. They had some people from Europe presenting as well. There was representatives from Xbox. Kowloon Knights was there, but I didn't realize they were there when they were there because I was not looking. Like I didn't have an eye for it because I was just following Chris.
It's like, hey. how's it going?
So when you actually ended up talking to Chris, were you like, hey?
Hey.
Yes.
Exactly what Charles just did.
Exactly what Charles just did.
Yeah.
Just a soft whisper.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Hi.
No, it was right after his presentation. I was like, this is the moment. Nobody's out like in the lobby area. I'll walk out and say hi, and I'm not normally very comfortable doing that, but I knew that he was going to be busy the entire week while he was there, and this was a really good moment where he was going to kind of be by himself. So I approached him and said we had a game that we'd like to show him, and he was kind enough to just hand me his business card with his phone number on it. And then we just texted to coordinate a time to show HyperDot to him.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was not expecting it. I was like, yeah, sure, just text it. I was like, what? Okay.
And I remember, like, when you actually did meet up with him, Like the biggest thing that I remember was the fact that you showed him HyperDot on a PlayStation controller.
And a Surface, though.
And a Surface.
It was on a Surface.
Okay, yeah.
See, that was the
It was
I
like the
opened it up.
50-50.
I was like, yeah, it's on a Surface. Look at that. And then I handed him a PlayStation controller.
Wait, what did he say?
He didn't say anything right then. He said something at the end of the meeting where he was like, so does this work with an Xbox controller? Yeah, I didn't have like forethought. That was all I had brought. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to hear your experience of like telling him about the game, because once I got you in front of him, I slightly stepped to the background.
Sure.
Were you hovering over Chris?
No, we were both just sitting at a small table.
We're at a small table. I don't remember what
He's sitting in the center.
Yes.
And
we were
flanking him.
And we were like, get our game on. No. So basically how it went was that I started showing them the game. We started with multiplayer, and we were playing multiplayer, having a blast.
Yep.
We're like, oh yeah, this is great. And then partway through, he mentioned that like the last game that he was playing was Geometry Wars, and he was trying to get an achievement in Geometry Wars, I believe 2. I was like, yes, sweet. This is what I made this game based off of. But so I was like, oh, great. It's cool. Why don't you try out the single player stuff? And then we went to the single player campaign and let him play. And then partway through, because we've been talking and trying to be like, oh, yeah, what do we do? How do we work together and things like that? Partway through this, while he was playing the game, he was like, I'd love to keep talking with you, but I need to really beat this level. So for like the next 3-4 minutes, we were silent while he was playing through the next like 3 levels or something. And I was like, yes, this is going well.
I love the idea of him like playing this game and you're talking and he just is like, yeah, whatever, shut up, I'm doing this thing.
I want to play this
I just
level.
need to play.
But yeah, it was a great experience, and I just like, I love like talking to Chris and hanging out and stuff. Ever since then, it was just been awesome. Just talking and things. And he's like so down to earth.
Yeah, he's very approachable. He's very like reasonable to talk to. He doesn't feel intimidating at all.
Yeah. He's like no, I like skateboarding. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Or the game that you talked or like.
Oh yeah. There was he was like, me and him were back talking back and forth because he was working on like different projects, and he was sending me things. And I was like, oh cool, this is great. And I gave him feedback, and I also gave him like feedback where it was the thing that a lot of people don't want, where it was wouldn't it be great if, and then you proceed to say something that's like outlandish. that I gave him that kind of feedback. I did preference that with,
This is outlandish.
This is outlandish, and I'm about to say, wouldn't it be great? So this is a warning.
Isn't
but
it
wouldn't
like-
it be great?
Wasn't it like the cliche thing as well? Like, wouldn't it be great if this had online multiplayer?
If this had multiplayer, yeah. Actually, HyperDot has an achievement called "Wouldn't it be cool if?"
Was this based off of your conversation
based
with
off of
him?
this conversation.
Aw, I love that.
No, it's just awesome talking to Chris.
That was largely PAX West 2018.
Yeah, it was a lot of us just kind of like walking around and talking to a ton of different people. I remember, Charles, you and I talked to a bunch of different influencers, just seeing, if people were excited about the game before we had ever, ever really publicly talked about it.
Yeah. And we didn't like publicly demo it there.
Yeah.
Other than sort of sliding into the ID at Xbox open house thing. We just went uninvited, and we were like, Ava had
Here's a Surface.
Yeah, Ava had the idea of putting my Surface on a table in front of like a huge line. I forgot what they were going. There was some
they were
raffle.
doing
I
a
think
raffle.
it was a raffle, so everyone was just standing there, and I was like, okay, we might as well entertain them.
Yeah.
So
I put my Surface there, and then of course I only had my PlayStation controller. But,
yeah, Jesus.
I know. But then we just like angled the screen towards the line, and then we started playing. It was like, whoa, oh, this is a wow.
Yeah.
It was It was the most unofficial thing ever. But yeah, no, it was really interesting seeing. There were a couple of people that did come up. There was like, I remember there was like a little kid that showed up and played.
So you were pretty damn nervous at PAX, just like showing the game to Chris. You were also extremely nervous from what I remember at GDC.
Oh, GDC, I was bugging.
This was like GDC. Was it 2019?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was like after PAX.
Yes. So GDC 2019. I've actually been to GDC before, which was crazy for me to say. But that was the first time that I was like showcasing a game at a not a local event or a local convention. Before I'd like done like conventions around the Twin Cities, because that's where I'm based and stuff. So I'd go there. Sometimes I'd do it up in Duluth where I went to school and things like that. But any time that I went outside or went to conventions elsewhere, I wasn't showcasing my game in any official capacity. It would be like, hey, do you want to actually see this? To somebody one-on-one. So this was the first time that I was showing my game off to the world, I guess.
Well, a lot of people from all over the place the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was also the first time that I was showing to press, where I've never done that before, other than the occasional person that would show up at like a local convention and say, I want to just I want to do a quick interview for our YouTube channel or something like that. But like nothing in terms of like a national scale.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of, and the event is purely for press. It was, I was bugging out. Yeah.
You actually kept your cool, at least from my perspective. I didn't know that you were so nervous until I realized that you hadn't eaten at like 3:00.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, you were so hungry, but you didn't eat, like you didn't show it, and you seemed really cool.
Oh yeah.
Especially on like Thursday, because we had to set up with Xbox on Thursday. I think it was I think it was Thursday, and then we showcased on Friday, or it was either set up on Wednesday and showcased on Thursday. But the day before for setup, you were there all damn day.
Yeah. That was the first time that we've encountered audio issues.
But that's because
yeah.
that was a very specific reason.
Yeah, it wasn't actually anything that we did technically. It was because we were playing on a computer and not on like an Xbox. And the way that the event was set up was that everybody had their own headphones so that they can listen to it and not bother everybody else who's playing other games, which is smart and makes a lot of sense. But our game, or HyperDot, is like multiplayer.
Yeah.
So we had to split the audio to 4 different headphones, and Windows does not like that.
Yeah, it did not work very well.
So yeah, we were there for 5 hours before.
And then what was it? Banana that saved you, or was it potato?
Oh yeah,
It was.
You want to tell the listeners what banana or potato are?
Yeah, I think it was banana that saved me. Yeah, and then potato. No, so banana and potato, they are audio. Oh, they basically manage audio for like computers and sources inside your computer, and they make it so that you can actually split the audio to go out to different headphones or different speakers and
like a virtual splitter.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that in banana. I think it was banana. Maybe it was potato.
It doesn't matter. Banana potato. Let's just call it banana potato.
Yes.
Helped us.
Yes, helped us. And yeah, so we were doing that. But of course, throughout the entire event, there was still like touch and go audio things. Like if you touch the cord a certain way, things would break.
Yeah,
But,
I remember that.
They spent a lot of time with you trying to help you get it set up right, though, which
Yes.
was very helpful.
Yeah, like the Xbox support team is just phenomenal. And I remember we ended up even like one day shipping a piece of equipment. And I don't remember what that was at this point, but it was just so nice to be able to have a team that was like super supportive of this setup. Although there was this part of me that was like, can we just get some speakers?
If only.
Yeah, I just remember they wanted to like keep the music kind of low, especially since it was press.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of press that were there doing like interviews and such.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the first time. Well, it was the first time that we were like, I guess, going public about, hey, HyperDot, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I guess it was like the first time that we were like, hey, we're also on Xbox. Where like leading up to the event, I remember like just like itching to say this to people, like, hey, it's coming out on Xbox. Oh my goodness. I remember the IGDA meeting before we went. I did like a huge sneak preview of the announcement trailer.
Yeah.
Because that was coming out when we were going to GDC. And I did a huge spiel where I had folders within folders within folders. And then there was a text file that was like, hey, don't say anything yet because we haven't announced this. And then there was another text file that also said this. And then I finally showed the thing. And then right at the end, it was like, whoa, and it went with the Xbox logo. And then I was like, whoa, everybody freaked out. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm freaking out too.
I'm freaking out too right there with you. But yeah, so like that whole lead up and stuff was like, it was really intense, I guess. And then the actual event was also like my nerves were. I was out. I was like, whoa, this is intense. I'm freaking out, nervous.
How was talking to press on that day? Like, was there anything that you remember that was sticking out to you?
Yeah. So that was, talking to press was a lot easier than I thought it would be in terms of, like I was just super nervous just talking to press, period. But I eventually was like, okay, it's all right. They're people. They're humans. So then I started calming down. But I actually noticed like from across the room, I saw What's Good. Actually, I saw Andrea Renee over there. And I was like, what? You're not. You're human.
Here.
You're not on a screen, and I'm looking at it, and it's a podcast. No,
Yeah.
you're right there. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh my goodness, that's Andrea Renee. And then, of course, it was like, oh, okay, and then left and walked over to.
I was on like recon.
Yeah, and then walked over, and then like I don't know, a minute and a half later, What's Good showed up, and I was like, hi. And then we started playing HyperDot.
Yeah, they stayed for
sounds-
like 15 or 20 minutes.
Yes.
That sounds very much like you. That is like Ava's MO. Like, oh, you want to talk to that person? Oh, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll just be super charming real quick.
This
Yeah.
reminds me of the time that at E3, Phil Spencer, but we can talk about that later. Unless we want to talk about it now. I did the same damn thing for E3, but Phil Spencer didn't show up.
Dang.
He promised me he would.
Dang.
He did. So, like, okay. I walked
We're
over
going to
Phil
E3.
Fine. Okay.
We're jumping.
All right, we're at
Are we
E3.
We're now
jumping
at E3.
chronologically? Okay.
We're now at E3.
About our different roles.
Where I run up to Phil Spencer and say, hey, you should try HyperDot. I think that you'd really like it. It'll take like less than 30 seconds. It's over there with all of the adaptive controllers. And he's like, yes, I'm going to come over there in 10 or 15 minutes. Like 20 minutes go by.
Phil Spencer betrayed us.
30 minutes go by and I'm still like looking at him, and then he like walked off and I was like, no, Phil Spencer, no.
It is so weird for like in this conversation to say, yeah, and then I talked to Phil Spencer, and I'm like, what? The what? That's Phil Spencer. Okay. the head of Xbox. Oh, okay, yeah, Phil Spencer. Yeah, that one. The
I
same
think that
one.
was our reaction when Ava came back to the booth and was like, I asked Phil Spencer to stop by, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
No shame. It's a power.
When we were first talking about, like, Holly, was it me and you that were on an email chain, like, saying, hey, friends at Xbox, it'd be cool if, E3, that's coming around. Were you on that chain with me?
The initial one when we were like, would you consider?
Yeah, us. Like, would you consider us?
Yeah,
a thing?
I think so, because we were like, we have a wild idea.
So listen, this wild idea.
Right. Yeah, because you had the brilliant idea of we were working with a Microsoft store locally to design this inclusive play installation that highlighted the adaptive controller with HyperDot. So we'd had all of this laid out. We had little graphics showing how we'd envisioned it. It's possible we'd already set it up and played with it for a little bit, so we knew that it went well. Ava thought of, let's pick this up and show this to our friends at ID at Xbox and say, how about we did this, but at E3 and for real? And
then they
went
said
for it.
Yes.
Yeah. They sent us back like the official application thing, and they're like, you need to fill this out in the next like 5 hours. Like, we really needed to turn it around quick. So but it worked. It was fantastic.
So we sent it off to them and they were like, hey, we're into it. They got back pretty quickly after we sent off that application. Mm-hmm. And then it was like the moment to tell Charles.
Yeah. Because before, when we've been mentioning, like, we'd been looking at our big like content calendar and events that were coming up to promote the game, and we kept mentioning E3, and Charles kept side-eyeing us and just shaking his head like, E3 what? Like, what are we going to do?
It's like, all right, cool.
We're going to just tweet about E3 from Minnesota.
The comfort of our home.
Yeah, from the comfort of our home. We're like, all right, cool.
Right.
E3 is happening.
Yeah, I think he'd been holding his expectations pretty low. But we did it.
Charles, what was, like, how did you feel when we had kind of, like, during our stand-up meeting be like, hey, so E3 is confirmed?
That's still weird. That's how I felt.
That's still how you feel?
I still have, it's like the explosions and everything. Like, I just, again, these are things that I've watched and hoped to go to since I was a kid. Since I was like this was even before I was making games. I was just like, oh man, E3 looks cool. And stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's just mind blowing that we even got to show at E3, or we even got to go to E3, but then we got to show at E3. And not only did we show at E3, we showed with Xbox, and we were at the Microsoft Theater. And I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. I'm supposed to be like across the world watching and streaming and being like, buffering and stuff like that. No, there was no buffering.
But instead, we were on the floor for like a bajillion hours.
Yes, we were there. Just
the first day was like a 19-hour day. It was absurd.
It was set up plus.
Yeah,
No,
it was like
wasn't
set up
plus.
on Sunday for I think like all morning. And we went pretty late as well because they were building like custom equipment for us.
Yeah, they were literally welding things together.
Yeah.
And he had the same potato.
same potato.
That banana
dang
potato
banana. Yeah.
Audio. They were long days. It was very surreal to be. Every time I kind of sat back and thought about it, I would look at the games that were around us, and there were other indies there, but we were like right next to like a Tom Clancy game. Like across the way was Madden. There were all these games that have enormous budgets and enormous teams, and then there was the solo show HyperDot.
There was like HyperDot, and then I was like, nothing made sense. Nothing made sense throughout the entire
We looked pretty slick though with all that custom made furniture, all the adaptive controllers and foot pedals. We definitely stood out.
And the pins, the adaptive controller pins.
That was so nice. There's, a whole pin economy that happens at these events. I won't go into it. Maybe Ava wants to.
I don't know. I feel like Charles should go into it because, like, him and Ray
That's true. You made a map.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Shout outs to Ray for making that map, and making the itinerary of trying to get all of the different pins.
Ray had one day off from boothing, and they decided to dedicate it to getting all the pins from the other booths.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we ended up with
successful, by the way.
They're pretty great. We ended up with a bunch of adaptive controller pins that were left over from another convention. It was just our friends at Xbox showed up with massive boxes of these adaptive controller pins, and we're like, "You want these? Here you go." And it was just this great bounty that suddenly put us on a lot of power in the pin economy that we also weren't expecting, and we immediately just leaned in. And we're terrible. We're like, "You need to give us 2 of those Fallout pins for one of our adaptive controller pins. These are rare and special, and we definitely paid for them ourselves."
Did folks want to talk a little bit about, like, what had actually happened on the floor?
I mean, I remember us just having a lot of people there all the time. It was a very busy event at all times. Like, there weren't many downtimes compared to other conventions.
Yeah, specifically with the Microsoft Theater, it was like there was a line to get into a line to get into the area where all the games were.
You're right, because it's a line outdoors, and then there's a line in the theater to get on stage to go play the games, and then there are additional lines at each station.
Yeah.
Unless maybe you're press, and
maybe
then
maybe
you
you can get through some of the lines, but there was a lot of lines. And there was like a lot of people just roaming the floor and playing out games and stuff like that. But like, it was always super interesting because we were showing the adaptive controller, and we brought the 3D rudder foot controller.
Yeah.
It was super interesting seeing people play and like experiencing it for the first time, and being like, "What foot controller?" And then they put the foot or try out the foot controller, be like, "Whoa, this is hard," because they were like, this is gonna be like, it's a foot controller. Well, bam, this is mess. This is crazy. So yeah, it was super interesting to see people like just playing the game and stuff. And like, again, I am a very sentimental and like a super overly romantic person when it comes to these things. But like, it was just really inspiring to just see people enjoy themselves and play HyperDot, and then be next to Madden and Tom Clancy and all these other like these games that I've known for all of my life, and I've played most of these franchises and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, my game is right next to it. Doesn't make sense.
Not to mention that the staff from those games were looking at your game like, "We want to play that.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave my booth behind."
Secretly, they just wanted the pin.
No, they wanted to play before we got those pins.
That's true.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, there was always like the hour beforehand where developers could walk around and try each other's games and such.
Yeah, that should be built
That was
into
really
everything
nice.
because there's so much cool stuff to play.
I agree. And then you can gather the pins during that time too.
It's not all about the pins.
The main thing I remember is the one morning where you got an email from Becca, and she was like, "I can get you into the press conference."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You two were like,
You
"We're
need to leave
leaving
in 10
town."
Deuces.
I remember that too, just because I think I had emailed Becca like the night before being like, "Hey, this is just gonna be a series of emails being like, hey,
If you can take anything from this episode or just talking to Ava in general, it's don't be afraid to send the most absurd ask, because there's a good chance you're going to get a yes.
and yeah, but the next morning it was like 9 or something. It's super early in the
We're
morning.
all literally getting ready.
Yeah, everyone was just like waking up and getting coffee, and I was like, if we leave now, we can go. Like, we need to be at the door in 11 minutes.
And then like 2 seconds later, I was like, "Are we going?"
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I need to change.
I'm like, "I'm good. Let's go."
Yeah.
It was a wild rush. It just left like me, Nick, and Ray sitting there like, so what do we do now? I guess we'll go explore LA because we don't have to be there for a long time.
And then we went to that really nice food market.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
Smorgasburg.
Smorgasburg. Yeah. During the press conference, we saw Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
We
like,
saw-
what? I feel like I'm gonna just keep on saying like what an explosion, all these things, but
That's really what mostly happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
That and like yelling, hearing people yell during
yeah.
the Kakarot thing.
yes, of course.
Yep.
Goodness sake. And then seeing what was it, Phantasy Star?
Yes, you and I both freaked out.
Yeah, we both freaked out, and we're like, well, now we're gonna play that in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great.
And also seeing Way to the Woods from our friend Anthony, who like we met at that event.
Yeah. No, there's so many cool moments, and just like being there again, not streaming it, and there's no buffering. There's no there's no awkward.
You know, there's no buffering in live events.
There's no buffering.
Did you
all
know
the
there's no
textures are
buffering
like
IRL?
all the textures are high res. What the heck?
Graphics, they're incredible.
Whoa. But no, it was just it was amazing.
Yeah, we showed up then after our like food excursion. We were just like eating dumplings still. We're like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And you're both like trilling and vibrating from like all the great things you'd seen at the press conference, like breathing Keanu Reeves. We didn't know the context yet.
We also ended up taking like I think this was the first time we had done this as like a group, just a little bit of time afterwards too. Like post event to hang out.
Yeah.
We went to a beach.
We did. We went to a beach.
We're from the Midwest, so understand that this is important.
It is. It was warm, unlike it is today.
Yeah.
This is true. My legs got very sunburned.
You were a sunburned man. That trip.
Just the bottoms of my legs, because I was wearing like semi-longer pants. Oh, yeah, my feet and my legs, they were just burnt.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I remember you sitting on a rock
Yes, I was pensive.
contemplatively.
I was,
Yeah, you were
Wearing a
like-
sweater and like 2 pairs of pants.
I have
That's how Charles
photos. I
goes
will
to the
post
beach.
that for people. There's
yeah.
just, I think
I
Charles.
like the contemplative photo.
Yeah, I think were you posing at me?
What? No, I
Yes,
wasn't
you
posing.
were. Are
I
you
was
lying?
just.
He
I'm
knew
not,
there was a
I'm
camera
not,
on him.
I mean, sure, there's always a camera on me, so I'm always ready. But no, I was just sitting, watching, absorbing,
Absorbing the ocean.
the ocean.
Yeah. While Charles was doing that, we were all screaming in the ocean because it was very cold, but we wanted cute pictures in our bikinis.
Oh yeah, you, Ray, and Ava. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
hearing about this.
We also shared a secret moment together in the ocean.
We also all peed in the ocean that day.
Oh my goodness.
Because it was a very long hill to walk back up.
It was such
It's just
a
too
long
much to
It
ask.
was. I needed a break in the middle. It was a long walk.
Oh my goodness. Well, all right.
All right.
So that's E3.
I'm trying to think of what other things were helpful. Like the way we divvied up roles while boothing and figured out our different strengths and weaknesses throughout. Like technically I was supposed to be on the here's how you play the game, but figured out I was fairly good at being like, hello, person who looks slightly lost, who looked at the screen for 1.5 seconds, which is enough for me to assume you are somewhat interested. Come on over.
Yeah. And it was that specifically that you said to them. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I would
Come on over.
Yeah,
I saw you looking at the screen.
For 1.2 seconds.
Yep. I clocked you. I had 2 seconds of interest, and now, no, it was lots of. I think I was at my weirdest of like actually motioning people over with like crooked fingers and be like, "Come on over, I see you." Lots of picking out loners and weaklings from groups and being like, "You look like you want to play HyperDot."
Moving on
What's next?
to what was
the
after
next
that?
event?
The very next event was PAX.
Like the next big one.
The next big, yes.
Yeah, unless there was a lot before that.
Well,
there was
yeah.
that point at you went like three for 3 weekends with events. There was
Yes.
like
Oh yeah, there was
Capping
like
it off
2D
with
Bit
PAX.
Bit Bash, 2D Con, and then something
Game
else.
Devs of Color?
Oh, Game Devs of Color. Yeah.
Yes, that one was separate from the 3.
Yes.
But so we went to Game Devs of Color, which was the first time that I went to New York proper for like longer than 5 minutes. We had a
you have a layover
connecting
once
flight.
or something?
we were on a train, and then we had to get from New York to New Jersey because we were going to, my grandmother graduated from college.
Cool.
Like a long time ago.
Wait, was she graduating as as a grandma, or was it
Yes,
a place
as
you were
a-
visiting?
as a grandma.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
It's much cute. Like, that's even more cute.
Oh yeah, but so I've only been to New York for like 5 minutes before, but
right.
then,
So you hadn't been.
yeah, I
I got
hadn't
it.
been, but then we went to Game Devs of Color, in New York.
If you didn't,
If you didn't
catch
know,
that,
it's in
it
New
was
York.
in New York.
By the way, Game Devs of Color, it's in New York. But so we went there, and me and my brother actually were going there. We were going to take the train because we have this pact where when I turned 21, we were going to go to New York through train because we only been to New York for 5 minutes. We were like, oh, we're going to go on a train and then go to New York and then go to Nintendo World.
Hashtag overly romantic, and it didn't happen.
And it didn't happen. We were lazy. We were super procrastinating. We were like, we got time. We didn't have time.
By
And
we,
then-
do you mean Steven?
No, both of us.
Okay.
I'll also share the blame. But yeah, that did not work. It did not work out. But yeah, Game Devs of Color was awesome. Being able to show the game off, and again, there was just a huge tidal wave of people that came in because we were right near the opening doors and stuff for that.
Yeah, I missed HyperDot when I first walked through because there was just a huge crew of people. I couldn't even see the screen. I had to go up on the second floor and like look around and follow the sound of Nic's laughter.
Oh my god.
And then I found where HyperDot was stationed.
It's like sonar.
Yeah. It's like a dolphin laugh.
Yeah, it was just like trying to find your key, your car, and you use a dongle thing. And you're like,
Thing.
and then bam, there it is.
And then we ended mostly like our summer. That was just a lot of summer travel. And then we ended our summer with kind of like back to PAX, but this time around it was just a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little.
We road tripped to PAX.
From Minnesota.
It's 24 hours each way. It's a lot. However, before we left, I took it upon myself to create a custom Google map of every single stop we could possibly go to between here and Seattle. I consulted Atlas Obscura, Roadside America, looked up best food in each state, and gosh darn it, we did it.
Gosh darn it.
Gosh darn it.
Darn it.
If I can give you any advice, if you have the option to drive through North Dakota, don't.
But the
Salem Sioux was there.
Salem Sioux.
We did pose in front of a frighteningly large and veiny
Extra veiny.
fiberglass cow statue in the city of Salem, North Dakota. Would recommend.
If you have to go through North Dakota.
Yeah, we also, in a random city that wasn't Bismarck, which for those of you unfamiliar is the capital of North Dakota, we saw the governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, in a McDonald's. Yeah, I came out of the bathroom and there he was, and I gave him a very strange look because I was tired from all of our driving, also confused about why I saw this recognizable man outside the bathroom of McDonald's. And then we just kind of creepily watched him taking pictures with people, and I was Googling and looking at pictures of him on my phone and looking at his face and looking at pictures of him on my phone. Weird time.
How did you know it was him?
I don't, because I knew who he was. Why don't you know the North Dakota governor on
Come
site?
on.
I used to work for Planned Parenthood North Dakota, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota. So
Okay.
I'm up on these things. Don't ask me who the governor of South Dakota is, though, because I will fail. I just realized as I said it, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Anywho, we drove 12 hours that first day all the way to Billings. Long trip.
Yeah. We never even saw our Airbnb host during
No, we
that.
didn't. We met their cat later.
Yep.
Yeah, but never
Maybe the
once.
cat was the host.
Never once did we find them or see them.
No, and I figured out on the way back that we'd missed a lot of the stops I'd put on there, and we're doing a lot of the driving through the beautiful areas at night. That's just how it worked from where we were to where we needed to be. Gosh, what else do we do? We went in Montana. We went to a grizzly bear sanctuary, which was so cute.
We went twice.
We went twice. We went on the way back too.
because it was
Yeah, we went to a random tea distributor, a gem shop.
and the weird ass stop in the middle of the night. So at one point
Yes.
I was asleep. And then I wasn't because I heard you two just go, where are we?
Yeah.
It's haunted.
Another piece of advice while driving through rural states is to really take it seriously when there's a rest stop. Like, take your pee time then, because you will be going a long time until the next stop, and you might end up pulling off into a weird ghost city called Hisham, where there are no street lights, lots of weird sculptures,
Yes.
life size of not mountains, like lions and
of like animals and
bears.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you weren't with us on the way
I
there.
didn't go
Yeah.
all the way there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I am
was-
not a car sleeper myself, so I witnessed every one of these 24 hours of the strip.
It's frantic.
Both ways.
Oh man, Misha, why are we in here?
It's a creepy sounding name too.
Because it really, we were really playing up the kind of stuff.
Yep, it was full time.
Yeah, no offense to people in Hisham. It
Hisham.
was just really dark.
It might be one of the cutest cities in Montana, but at like midnight,
It's terrifying.
it wasn't cool.
It was just we didn't know.
We didn't know. Like, Hisham, this sounds like a good place to stop. It sounds inoffensive and fine.
Eventually, we arrived at Seattle, though.
We did. No small amount of mishaps later, but lots of beautiful driving once you got out of North Dakota. Again, great state, boring scenery. And so we were trying to work on a deal to get into PAX proper. That unfortunately fell through, but we had an Idea at Xbox open house, which was at one of the many Microsoft buildings that makes its own city inside of Redmond, which was a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, and it was. I'm gonna be all this sentimental thing, but
Take it away, Charles.
I feel like we should have chimes.
yes,
Or like
sentimental.
violins and
Oh my
chimes.
goodness.
Like the beginning of a Miyazaki film.
It was also because, as we mentioned, we went to this thing last year or the year before, unofficially, where we set up my Surface. But like this year, it was us properly being there, and we were actually being displayed there. So, all right, there you go. I'm gonna back out with the sentimental.
No, it's lovely. It was cool to be there. There was like a VIP hour with folks from, I think, a nearby hospital, and then there was press time, and then it was just open. It was fun and cool, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say. And we all kind of we checked out PAX itself separately, I think.
Yeah, on Friday.
We all went on different days. I came back with like a huge stack of indie games. Like I played every cute looking indie game I could get my hand on and like took their cards. I was like, I love it. Okay, bye. I'm gonna blow a lot of money on those this year.
Didn't you two end up doing like some sort of interview on site?
Yes. So actually, both at E3 and at PAX, we had mixer shows.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at E3, we had
Mixer came by like 2 times.
yes,
right?
we had a surprise mixer one where it was the first night that we were showing, and then they were like, "Hey, we see you have,"
And you were like,
I was
"Hey."
like, "Hey," and then that was the whole interview. You should go look it up. No, but yeah, so it was just like me running through the game and stuff like that. But then there was the E3 one, and then there was the PAX one where it was also me running through the game, but Holly was helping.
They sat me down with someone who'd maybe they probably played the game for like 10 minutes to get a hang of it, but they crushed me. Like, it was a good thing that the cameras were not focused on us, because I was just, my jaw was getting tighter and tighter. My forehead muscles were bulging bigger and bigger as this noob was just laying waste to me while we were just showing off the game multiplayer modes.
You should look that up.
Don't. I'm the one who wins the whole time.
Yeah, clearly.
Something else we did during the Idea at Xbox open house is we got to visit Microsoft's really cool, amazing tech lab. We were invited to a little get together by Cherry Ray Thompson, who we just started working on our A11Y stuff with, and Bryce Johnson, who is the inclusive lead at Microsoft for Microsoft devices and was a driving force behind the adaptive controller, and that was really cool. It's a space that's full of like cool prototypes that have never been seen before and controller mods that are weird. toys designed with people, like with disabled people in mind. It was
Yeah.
they had rooms where you could just like change the colors of the room and block out other sounds for sensory processing reasons. It was neat.
Yeah, and as just like a research lab, I was super impressed about the fact that there just wasn't, like when you think about a just typical research lab, there's always people behind like one of those mirrors or one of those glass windows that you just can't see. It's a one-way glass window. And then you kind of like creepily observe the other people who are doing testing from the other side. And I really love that they didn't have that. Like everything was just so charming and inviting. And I just thought it was really lovely. I don't know. What about you, Nick? Like, how did you feel about the lab that you were in compared to like other labs that you've been in?
Like my lab when I was at the VA before, or what? Because that was a lab with a window.
Oh no!
But it was a two-way window.
Oh, so you could.
So we
that's
could
kind
see
of
each
creepy.
other.
I feel like
the white coat
creepier.
No, I guess I would appreciate the like lack of pretending that someone's not watching me.
Yeah, it was a very, very approachable lab. Like it was colorful. It didn't feel sterile at all. So yeah, I can imagine participants or people who are coming there to help design things feeling much more comfortable being themselves there versus going into a lab setting where they don't feel comfortable and can't be themselves. So
yeah, it was full of toys and color and joy. It was cool AF. And at that point, Ava's ID had expired, but we'd added a new driver, Nick.
Oh yeah. After like, yeah.
yeah, I remember getting
my
in
ID.
when I flew in and got there and saw all of you. You're all just like, why are you talking to us?
Like,
We
oh,
all
we're
just
so glad
wanna
you're excited to be
sleep.
here.
Yeah, you all were real dead.
We're sleepy people. And then we did it all again, went the other way, hit that grizzly bear sanctuary again.
But we went to the last thing that we did. Yeah. So no, but before we had ended up leaving, we were at the Supergiant 10th anniversary party too.
Yeah, and we checked out the Mix, which is where we played. We Met in May, delightful,
Pinched
and
a lot
other
of
games.
nipples.
Pinched lots of nips. That's the review
Banned
of
on
that
Twitch.
game.
Banned on Twitch.
Yeah, did you end up showing your game to a bunch of folks at the 10th anniversary? Just like talking to people?
Yeah,
Wait,
talking to people. I did have so I had the like a video version. I did so
not that.
I mean, I've been pretty public about the like a mobile version. I've been saying since I started working on HyperDot, I was like, yeah, I'm working on a mobile version.
Didn't
But
hear it here.
yeah, didn't hear it here.
No.
Just bleep this whole entire segment.
You dreamt of this part.
But yeah, I was like showing it off or showing the game on my phone because I had a video of it. And yeah, I was just like, hey. But yeah, there was like a lot of like, because these are people that I've been like watching and like learning from afar in Minnesota, in my basement, or actually my dorm room, or well, I don't know. I was not there. That's what I'm getting at.
You had never met these people.
Yes, I've never met these people, but these are people that I've been like, wow, that looks so cool.
And they're all shorter than I thought.
Yeah, they're like, it really does.
They're not 7 feet tall. Yeah.
Everyone is shorter in real life.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like, it was just super awesome just to meet these people that I've, again, been following in some way or shape or form for years at that point.
Then after that, we were on the road.
And we were on the road.
The next
were.
morning, right?
Yeah.
That was it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grizzly bears, drive-through zoo in Rapid City. It all blurs together. I don't know. We were driving through like the beautiful stuff, like the Black Hills at night.
Yes.
Charles
We
was
saw
our
that.
night driver.
We saw that big old pond of acid.
We
Did see
did.
Big Pond of Acid.
So Montana, I gotta say, is fascinating. Like that place. That was in Butte, where on the way there we had pork chop sandwiches
Yep.
at Pork Chop John's.
Yep.
Do recommend. There were like two middle-aged sisters who were bantering the whole time back and forth as we sat at a counter and just silently ate pork chops. It was the best.
Yep. And I approved. I was like, I understand this relationship.
Yes.
Yeah,
If you and Steven were two like 50-something white ladies, that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stopped at an acidic pit. It was beautiful. And
We had a lot of podcasts of murder.
we did.
Yes.
We each threw in some suggestions to the pile of podcasts. Mine was My Favorite Murder.
Yes.
Some of us were on board, some of us were not.
But we still were there.
But we were still in that car
Yeah.
together.
Some of us could nap, some of us could not.
Yes.
Oh, we did that drive-through zoo.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very fun.
We
That
did.
was so
We
fun.
did.
Like South Dakota Bear Encounter. What was it called?
It doesn't
Bear
matter.
Country USA.
Yeah, Bear Country
Yes.
USA. And we
There you
saw a
go.
bunch of little baby bear cubs getting
Yes,
sprayed
getting
with water.
sprayed in the face
Oh
with
my
water.
god, that's the cutest thing that's ever happened in my entire life.
Yeah, and
It was
we-
very hot that day.
We almost got sprayed because the reindeer in front of us like peed on like the car.
Keep the windows up.
car was
Yeah,
front,
they peed on like the wheel of the car in front of us
Reindeer, when there's enough of them, are very bold and will surround your car
with
Nope.
pee.
Yeah.
and their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Dignity statue and Chamberlain, which is really pretty, and stretched our legs during the sunset by the Missouri River? ? Whatever. The point is, we made it back. It was a good time. We were all in a Prius.
My favorite parts were Charles setting up his Switch at every room that we
yeah.
stopped in,
Yep.
and us playing Tetris 3v1 on
Yes.
Charles and destroying
Long live the long boys.
him
Long boys.
over
Oh,
and
yeah.
over.
Y'all just destroyed
Yeah,
me.
for
3v1.
sure. We played
3v1.
3v1 because Charles is so bad.
Yeah. That's,
And we
yep.
just love to pile on.
Yeah. These are all accurate
The
statements.
truth is, we play 3v1 and Charles still crushes us.
But when we crush him, we
Yeah.
Oh,
we
it's-
celebrate. Like we say, Charles, in your face.
How are you
We
not
win.
That, how are you not this good?
Yeah, Charles, this is
Are you not as
laughable.
good as us collectively?
Yeah, we stayed in that really cool B&B on the way there. That was then full on the way back in Missoula. That was like on the river. It was a converted frat house. We all liked it except for Charles because there was not a good setup for his Switch.
Nope.
Could not plug that in
Didn't do it.
to the TV.
I was disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a beautiful area, but still.
but stupid.
If you ever travel with Charles, the only amenity that matters is a TV,
Give me a TV.
with an HDMI.
Yeah, give me a TV and HDMI and power.
That's it.
Yeah,
And we're
doesn't
good.
matter how exhausted we are as we roll into each of these places. Charles will just drop his bag, pull out the Switch, go set it up.
And then, all right, now
Publishing
I can
on
actually
Xbox.
care about you.
As we wrap up, do folks have anything that they want to say to the listeners?
Charles is bad
Charles
at
has
Tetris.
something. Should I go?
No, this isn't. This is not. We're not being sentimental right
Okay,
here.
fine.
Also, that never mind. So,
Now I
So-
want to know.
okay, I'm gonna be a little bit sentimental every time. But no, it was like this past year, especially even in just events. If we were just looking at events, it's been like the year of dreams, where it was
Year
just
of
like,
dreams.
yeah, it was just like so many things going, like going to GDC and showing off a game, going to E3 for the first time, going to PAX and showing off a game with Xbox. It was just like, yeah, it was amazing. But yeah,
That's so sweet, and I won't make a Field of Dreams joke about it.
okay.
That just reminded me of the last moment that I like walked up to you during PAX. Well, the most recent one in 2019, with ID at Xbox, and I was like, "We're so close. We're like almost there. Like we're almost there." And I was like, "I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna walk away now."
Excuse me as I walk away to cry.
All right. That's the episode. You can continue the conversation with us and the Hello Player community at discord.gg/glitch. And don't forget to subscribe to Hello Player on your favorite podcast app. Hello Player is produced by me, Ava Carr, Holly Harrison, Ben Hansen of MinMax, with music by none other than Charles McGregor. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.